everybody. This was a new thing. We had to do that. It's the first time I've done a countdown. But why I did that is we are today, the first time we're going to be streaming to WFLE DB Radio Network. And actually, that's Ted Van Son's network. And we are just sharing. So we are not live streaming. So we will not be able to see your comments. If you're going to watch from that venue, we won't be able to see your comments, I don't think, on our StreamYard stream. So that being said, also on Ted's show, me and Mama D will be guests. Yes, on October 18th. But now a couple other announcements. Now Bob and I, Bob Christopher, my partner in crime in life, we are going to be at Selma Mansion, the event in Norristown, PA, this weekend on Saturday. Big vendor thing, and they're doing ghost hunts and everything. Going to be a cool event, so come see us there. And also, let me see, we got here. So we will be at Selma this Saturday, and then the following, we're going to be at Para-Unity. Now, Para-Unity is a really big event in Woodbridge, New Jersey. You have all those stars are going to be there. Everyone from Ghost Hunters is going to be there, and I believe Jason Hawes is now going to be there. Yes, he is. Jason, everyone from Ghost Hunters, all those guys. And you know who else? Us. We're going to have all our equipment. I can't. Are you muted? Or you just not?
No, you told me not to talk.
Okay, I love you. So yeah, Mama D will not be there, but Bob and I will be there. And let's see. So, and the other thing, one more thing is next week, Bob and I will be on Abnormal Realities show, which is Rocky Stucci's show, on Tuesday night from 8 to 10. So, come see us there too. We'll be talking about all our equipment and everything else. Now, as always, hi, Mama. I love you. As always, I have a bio video for our guest. So I'll play that, and as soon as it ends, he will be with us.
Good evening, everybody. I am Gina B, here with Mama D every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here in the Foxton. The great sages for millennia have taught that the answers to healing, spiritual evolution, elevation of consciousness, and living a happy and fulfilled life are inside of us. But where exactly are they, and how do you work with them? Our guest today, Jonathan Goldman, can answer those questions for you. In his 4 decades of working with energy medicine, first as an acupuncturist, then as the developer of transformational energy healing, he has mapped the multi-layered human energy vehicle, HEV. Goldman has uniquely described where and how thought forms, emotions, energetic material, beliefs, and spiritual qualities live and operate in the multiple energy layers that are within and around the human body. This has allowed him to create a form of healing which goes beyond and enhances psychotherapy, allopathic medicine, and alternative healing modalities. What defines the uniqueness of Goldman's work is identifying the specific characteristics, personal and transpersonal, that live in the various chakras where they interface with these 5 energy layers. He teaches, for example, where the actual vibrations of universal light, compassion, calm, forgiveness, and faith live inside you, and how to access and utilize them in your life, your work, your relationships. The chakra map that he has discovered is the core feature in his inspiring and illuminating book, The Gift of the Body, a multi-dimensional guide to energy, anatomy, grounded spirituality, and living through the heart. His work can open the way for an entirely new internal paradigm that activates living from your heart. This extraordinary knowledge has come to Goldman through a fascinating journey that has led him to become one of the first practitioners of acupuncture in the United States, to the depth of the Amazon rainforest in Brazil, and to teaching and guiding people in their spiritual transformation all over the world. He is the founder of the Essential Light Institute, which is dedicated to teaching the arts of self-transformation and energy healing through direct relationship with the living force of light. And we welcome you to the Fox Den, Jonathan.
And that's a wrap. That's everything you need to know
Okay, we're
about.
done. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. What I said the other day, you could just show that. You don't even need me on the show.
But you do a lot. So now we got to elaborate. Now, this is the book, okay? And as we were doing a test with Jonathan, and I told Jonathan, and you all know that watch the show, that I always read the book before the show. However, this one is quite hefty, but it's also hefty. You know, I mean, it is something that you don't want to just read quickly. You know, I've read about a quarter of it, just a little bit past where the maps are in it, and I did that quickly, and it doesn't give it justice, and it doesn't, um, do what you need to do to get what you need to get out of this book, because it's everything about. Well, I'm going to let you talk about that, but it's really quite interesting. The subject, the matter, the everything on how you can specifically track pinpoint items and emotions in your body is just fascinating to me. But now, you call yourself a healer, and what does that mean to you? And how do you come to consider yourself a healer?
I started out as a practitioner, right? Most people that practice a form of helping start as practitioners. You learn a skill, and your body needs to learn that skill. So I know, Mama D, you're a practitioner of Reiki, right?
Yes.
So at first you're practicing, and then you become a Reiki practitioner. You know how to do it. Your body knows how to do it. At some point, for many of us, we get called from an inner calling to take that skill and give it over to spirit, give it over to a higher intelligence, give it over to light, and then rather than me using that, I get used.
Yes.
Right? I get used. So I started out as an acupuncturist. I practiced acupuncture super intensely for 12 years. I worked in a 7 by 8 foot room in Boston, in the top of my house. At that point, I got bored. And you can't do this without being bored.
Yeah. No.
So I started looking around, and at that point, I went to Brazil. I went to a mountain community in Brazil, isolated mountain community in Brazil, where they still practice today, a form of spiritual worship and healing using a tea that people nowadays call ayahuasca, in that context called daime. And what I found was, along with my own spirituality, along with very deep things about myself, knowledge that I didn't know existed, I found that I had a spiritual healing channel that got opened in that month I was there. And all of a sudden, that acupuncture skill that was in my body was being used by something else. That started me being a healer.
That just always amazes me. I have never gone to acupuncture, and I always wanted to, but I'm afraid of needles.
No, you know what? They don't hurt.
I know
I've been there.
everyone says that, but I just don't.
And you don't even see them.
I know.
I've been there once. I didn't
like
get to go back, but you don't see yourself. It's not like you're gonna be going, "Oh, selfie." Let's see my.
I would.
You would.
I mean, like, take a picture of that. I would want to see it, but I mean, I know. I mean, acupressure. I mean, what's the humongous difference between acupressure and acupuncture? I mean, it's just holding down the same kind of points, right?
It depends on the person that's doing it. Someone who's a master or mistress of acupressure is basically activating the system. That's what the needles do. You're activating the system that in my world runs in the etheric body, which is a bridge body between the non-visible and the visible body, and you're activating that system to get it to harmonize itself. And basically each point is a button that says, "Yo, here's the message." And a person who knows what they're doing is going to activate these various points, and then the system writes itself. You can do that with fingers. Sometimes I use little crystals. People who are freaked out by needles, you can use little crystals. Use your fingers.
Yeah.
Visualize it.
Right. Now, when you say etheric body, it's like kind of like if someone doesn't understand it, is that more like the aura, like what's around us, or is that beyond the aura?
It's one piece. Yeah, it's a confusing because people use different terms, right? There are people that call the aura the etheric double. I'm using the etheric body to mean the first layer. Like if I had a light behind me,
Okay.
you could probably see this like little nimbus, this little white nimbus around me. First one I ever saw, I was looking at a video of the Beatles, and I was looking at Paul McCartney, and he had this white thing around him. I was like, wow, what is that, right? And so the etheric body in my world is the first layer that runs very like an inch above the physical body and then penetrates into the physical body. So for instance, the acupuncture points are in that layer. So when you put a needle in, you're putting it through the etheric body, and you're putting it into also the physical body, and so you're joining them together so that they start working in harmony.
That
Right?
makes sense.
There are other layers. So you have the physical body, the etheric body, then the emotional body, which is about here. Then you have the mental body, which is actually the membrane that surrounds the whole aura, gives it definition. And then beyond that, you have the spiritual bodies. So really, depending on how safe we feel, how happy we feel, like my aura right now is about like this, because you all are beautiful people, and I feel happy to be with you. If I was standing on the subway, you said grew up in Massachusetts. If I'm standing on the subway in Boston, my aura is about like this.
Mhm.
That's for sure. I know. So now you're way out in the country, and I'm down in Pennsylvania. That's what I call it. It's a far cry from Massachusetts and all that crazy hectic energy, because it really is. It's like you have to ground like 50 times a day just to make it through the day.
Yep.
I took lots of showers when I lived in Boston.
Y'all are giving Boston a bad name. I gotta go there and make it feel better.
Oh, it's a great town. It's a great town.
Oh yeah, I mean it's good. It's got awesome things to do and awesome.
It's like every place. It's
Yeah.
got a couple of crazy moments, and sometimes they last a little longer than a moment.
For sure.
But you drive there, and it's like, you can go there one week, and there's a street one way this way, and you go there next week, and that street's one way the other way.
And there's no street signs.
And no street signs. Oh yeah, and
No, I
the
get
mass
lost.
plate,
They do it on purpose.
the mass plate signs are this big on a random pole, 12 feet up in the air, tiny little thing. 91. My GPS even quit on me one time. Get this. This is a true story. No word of lie. I pull up to an intersection, and it's like a fan of all these ways to go, right? Way across, there's one pole, and you can see the little sign. I know that's what it is. I can't read it, don't know where it's going, right? But my GPS went, bring, bring, bring. Lost satellite reception. It just went back and forth like it was panning to see where it wanted to go on the streets, and then just said it gave up. It was like, no, yep. So you want to end up in the combat zone? There you go. But it's funny. But I'm glad you're out of there. But I'm glad you had the experience of there. I had the experience of there. Went to school there. I still have friends there.
I think, Gina, this was for you from start.
Wuss.
Go to a wuss.
Wuss. For what?
Wuss.
Oh,
For not having money to have
Who
the
you
acupuncture.
call the wolf? You know what I mean?
right? Hey, hi,
I
Bob.
look at it. A big one for
My
you and a
baby.
little one for me.
My
There you go.
baby.
I saw it.
Aw. Acupuncture doesn't hurt. It's not bad. I just don't like needles. Even when I go to give blood, I'm not tough. I can do it. I'll do it.
She can get tattoos, but she
Yeah.
can't get a needle. There's a difference.
Right.
I mean, I got a tattoo. One. It took me a lot of years to find the right person, but but for needles, just don't like. I just can't look at them. Once they're in, I'm good. You want to take blood? Go ahead. Just don't let me see it, and then you suck it out. I'll watch it go.
I'm getting a little more daring in my older age. I mean, because I'm in so much pain, I probably would try it. But there's a lot of things in here though that you don't have to do that. So he's like gone beyond this. He's gone beyond allopathic. He's gone beyond acupuncture, and he's mapped out the HEV. Right. So first of all, the gift of the body It's a great title. So do you want to explain why you chose this title? And it's
Sure.
Multidimensional Guide to Energy Anatomy, Grounded Spirituality, and Living Through the Heart.
So for me, like many people who are sensitive, right? When I lead a workshop, the first thing I do is I have everybody raise their hand and I say, "Hi, my name is Johnny and I'm sensitive," right? So in my sensitivity and the things I had to do to protect myself, for me, being in a body up until a certain point in my life was a prison sentence. I used to think, when does the parole board meet?
Yeah.
So I can get out of here, right? Many people have this experience, people who are very sensitive. What I came to understand is that my healing was to learn how to be in my body, not to be floating around trying to keep away from it, right? And we do all kinds of things to keep away from it, right? We have addictions and we have habits and we have mental things and we distract ourselves and blah, blah, blah. I did all those things. And I realized, wait, no, I had to come into this vehicle. This is what I'm here to do. I came to Earth to be a human, right? So I worked hard. I had to do lots of therapy and I had to work to ground myself. You mentioned at the beginning, I had to ground myself. And then I realized, wow, there's so many cool things about this body. It has its limitations. It has weird things about it for sure, but it's really incredible. And then I started to discover these layers, these qualities, started to discover, what the sages have said for millennium, it is all inside me. Oh, where is it? And it became an adventure rather than a prison sentence.
Okay.
So I realized, wait, this is the greatest gift in the universe.
Pretty cool.
Because what I say in the back of the book is, this is a mobile schoolroom.
Right.
There's a mobile schoolroom that has the curriculum built in. My personality is part of the curriculum. My traumas are part of the curriculum. My karma is part of the curriculum. Everything is here for me to learn every second if I pay attention. What an incredible gift. So that's why I call it the gift of the body.
Awesome.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a nice way of describing it.
Yeah, and you did mention that on the back of the book here, it says your human energy vehicle is a mobile classroom, and the gift of the body is experiential and breakthrough and transformational textbook for the adventure school of your life, which is really kind of cool. All of it's kind of cool. And you do have maps. I can bring up the maps and you can talk about the maps that you have painstakingly found where all these emotions coincide with our chakras, our flow, our energy, our everything, all these layers, and you can pinpoint where is your empathy and where is your everything. Just hold on one second, let me get this map up here because you guys, this is just amazing stuff. There's a lot of things up here. So these are your maps. These are in your book. So you guys get the book, then you can see them. So now that first one, the upright one, that's kind of talking about what you were talking about before with all the layers that go from grounding to the outside.
Yeah, you just get to see how are we for real, right? We narrow our vision, we narrow our perception, particularly in our culture, right? We're about like the physical material thing.
Yeah.
And we discount lots of things, right? We discount nature, we discount many things. And so you get to see, no, that really this is who we are. When my son, who's now 39, was 5 years old, he looked at somebody, he said, "Oh, Dad, I see, we're eggs with legs."
Oh, I like that.
That's
right?
funny.
He could still see, right? And then you see the other ones. If you see there's a lying down person with a facing down and facing up.
Yeah.
You can't really see it on the
Right.
The top one is facing up and the bottom one is facing down.
Right.
And so the chakras are emanate from the front and they emanate from the back, both. So the second chakra comes out from the sacrum and comes out from the belly. Each layer of the aura, So you have the etheric body, which is in blue. Then the multicolored one is the emotional body. The yellow one is the mental body, and then the purple one is the spiritual bodies. Each chakra emanates right through all 5 of those, and each place that it bisects, each place that the second chakra touches, each one of those layers is a quality of that chakra that layer describes. So the emotional body of the second chakra has to do with pleasure.
Right.
But we think pleasure, where does pleasure live? Pleasure lives in the brain. No, pleasure doesn't live in the brain. Pleasure lives right in that emotional body. And so if you're having problems in that area, as many people do, particularly women, right, have a problem in the second chakra, organ, blah, 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 you can look at the various layers to discover, where did it start? Where's the origin of the problem? Okay, it's showing up as endometriosis, or it's showing up as menstrual problems. It's showing up as digestive problems. That's not where it started. It started in the mental body. It started with the constriction of the energy of that chakra. So to heal it, let's free up the energy, and then let's see what happens. And most of the time, when you free up the energy, the symptoms get better.
Right. Now that makes total sense, because, you know, in Reiki and pranic and all that stuff, you want the chakras to be
aligned,
swirling freely, you know.
And each one has a job. Each chakra has a
Yes.
job, just like each person has a job. So the problem is, when one of them is not doing their job, another one's got to pick up the slack, and it's not very good at it. So a second chakra is supposed to be doing what a second chakra does. If it's shut down, somebody else has to pick up the slack. That one gets tired, blah, blah, blah. And you get a cycle, a systematic imbalance. So let's discover, where did it start? Where did the pattern start? Where did this protection, this shutdown, this constriction start? And then there's a process that I teach. How do you sort it out? How do you diagnose it? And then what we do is we literally call light, universal light, the force of light, the same light that you channel when you do Reiki. But we focus it on that discrete place, that place in the aura, that place in the chakra. We free it up, balance things out, and then everything that the person's doing for themselves works better. So for instance, a bunch of people come and they're having back problems, and they've been to chiropractors, and they've been to doctors, and they've done yoga, and they've taken, you know, as my wife calls it, vitamin I, right? Ibuprofen. And right?
Yeah.
Take that. They come, we free up the energy of their chakras, the third chakra and the second chakra, and they go back and do exactly the same thing they were doing that didn't work, and this time it works.
It's amazing. Energy is an amazing thing, and
It is.
You know, and I'm guilty. I go to the chiropractor, right? Because I got to get snapped. I've had, you know, problems my whole life with my neck since I was 17, and when it gets stuck, I'll get sick. I will physically, when my neck gets stuck, goes in the back of my, like the occiput area of my neck, gets all frozen up. It makes me sick to my stomach. It gives me like an unbelievable headache, like a migraine, you know, and I can melt ice on my head, and it's just like, just leave me alone for a day. You know, it's horrible.
So let me tell you something else about that, okay? As
Yeah.
long as we're talking. So here's what everybody has. Everybody has, I'm going to show you, I'm going to turn sideways. Everybody has right here a chimney, like a tube, energy tube, goes straight up the back, goes up to the top of your aura. That is the spiritual channel. And what happens is it gets blocked. And then, so for instance, someone has neck problems, which I used to have. When I open that channel, it frees up the whole area, and energy that gets stuck in me can leave, goes up the chimney, light can come down, and then going to the chiropractor works like that.
Right.
because the area is not clogged with energy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
tight. It's like
Right?
a knot.
I mean, it's what it is. When a person is doing healing work, what happens is light comes down that channel, comes into their heart, and then comes out their hands.
Yep.
That's how real healing works, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I would say. I'm not diagnosing you. That's not my business. But I'm betting that you being a sensitive person and you being a psychic person, that your tube gets clogged. It's like having a chimney, and you gotta
You're
send
the chimney sweep, dude.
send Dick Van Dyke up here.
There you go.
Oh, good. Now I'm gonna have to go see that. At least that part. I'll Google it later. It's so funny. Oh my god. But also now when you were saying like for the mental part of it, when you get a massage and it's like a really good massage at the end of the massage, I always see like purple. So that's like, to me, that proves to me that was good. I'm in that right frame of mind. I am like, it's like the epitome of relaxation.
And your third eye is opening, and you're seeing the color of the third eye.
Right. So, and then that brings everything in, and that's a wonderful place to be, and I miss that because I used to up in Massachusetts. This great massage girl, Rebecca. Oh, I miss her so much. I mean, she's a tiny little thing, hands of gold. She's just gold, but her heart is. She works through her heart.
I swear, you keep talking this girl up. Everybody in Massachusetts is going to be going, like, what's her name? We're going there.
Rebecca Carenzo. She's
there
wonderful.
You go. If anybody wants who's in there, go see Rebecca.
Yeah, she is unbelievable. Best massage girl I've ever had in my entire life. But she works through her heart, and you know it, and you can feel it in her hands. Mm-hmm. She's just, she's one of my closest friends, and I do miss her and I love her. But he works through his heart, and you work through your heart. I work through my heart.
The thing is, most people who work through their heart, you said she's the greatest thing, and she's got the hands of gold, and she makes it real. The way I believe it is that it's not just massage. There's energy working through all of it.
Exactly. That's it.
You don't have to be trained. You don't. It's. I love having the foundation of Reiki to build on. But I was doing healing before. I know a girl who does hands-on healing since she was a child, and she's had no training. She used to take care of her mom, and there was no questions. And then she asked me one time, we sat down, and she explained to me what she would get when she would do this healing. And she goes, I don't understand it. What do you call it? I said, well, because you work with your angels, just call it angelic healing. There's no specific name. It's just something you've done since you were a child, and you will always connect with the angels. So it's angelic healing. Everybody,
For me, I call mine pranic just because that's what Chris told me it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't know. But my hands get heat, really heated up if something is off, like on fire, and I just want to pull. If I scan somebody, and it will stop. It will actually physically stop. I can't keep going. I have to stay there, and then I feel like I stay there, and I just throw it, I get rid of it. And when I first did it though, I pulled it into me. And we were doing like
every time you say that, I just kind of want to go.
I know, right? Exactly. See, I didn't know any other way to do it. And like this girl had a really bad belly ache. She didn't tell anybody. And I'm going and I got stuck on her belly. And I'm just like pulling and pulling and pulling. And then it was just so horrible, And I just really wanted to help her. I just really wanted to pull it. And it went. All of a sudden, you heard this noise, and this again, like. Boom. You heard the noise. Everyone in the class heard the noise. It went from her into my stomach. And then I buckled over in pain. I was just like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, you poor thing. You were dealing with this, But, now I'm the poor thing, and I had to get it out of me. But, I had to quickly learn how to not do that.
Because, here's something else I teach. It's a great example. What you gave was a perfect example of this. So what you learned was the difference between the vibration of empathy and the vibration of compassion. Empathy is that thing of like, oh, I can feel what's going on with this person and I want them to be better so much. And I take it on. Compassion is, wow, okay, I can see what's going on here. We're together in this space. I know healing is possible. Let's hold the space and see what's going to happen. And then what happens is that energy, when it leaves her, it doesn't go into you. It goes to your heart, to the space of compassion, which is right here in front of your heart. And then it gets transformed. And you're fine, and so is she.
Right.
I think that's the best way I've heard it described.
Yep. Yeah. And
It goes empathy and compassion.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
There's
Did I
a
get
thing
to
going
be
around
right?
now. People are making money off of talking about compassion fatigue. There's no such thing as compassion fatigue. Compassion is a universal force. It's like talking about sun fatigue. The sun, sun goes for billions of years. Empathy gets fatigued because empathy is a human created thing. It's a mechanism in us so that I can know what you're feeling and I can be an empathetic person, right? Empathy is a good thing. But empathy gives information. Empathy is not the way to do it. Empathy gives me the information so that I can be in the space of compassion. Compassion is eternally renewable because it's a universal force. When I tune into the space in my heart of compassion, I'm tuned into the universe. I can work forever. My body gets tired. I need to sleep. I need to eat, whatever. But I don't get fatigued in that way. My soul doesn't get fatigued. My soul gets renewed.
Yeah.
Right. I saw one time a video that was like an empath walking, like leaving the house, all clean, right? A white figure, all clean, all clean. And then it's walking down the street and meets the first person, says hi, and they're sad. And then they start getting like sludge-filled hands, you know what I mean? And then it's like and then they go through a store and everything. By the time they come home, they are just this big sludge mass of crap because every time they pass a person, they're taking on, whether they're afraid, whether they're lustful or envious or angry or hurt or crying or whatever. An empath will take on all those things. So you need to learn how to ground and protect yourself from all of
it. And when I see a client, right? I still have a private practice. 99% of the time, the first thing we do the energy work is I say we back up the cosmic dump truck. And we take an energy shovel and we go like this.
Yep.
And clear the person off. And it can be, right? I was working with a person today. I was doing it online. And I told him he had like a triceratops hump of energy on his back. And he's a healer. He works with people. So the whole session was like, let's clear it, let's clear it, let's clear it, let's clear it. And at the end, he was like, wow, okay, that's better.
Yep. Yeah, when you can sit up and you can actually, your shoulders not up here, and you can just.
Lost 30 pounds,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a big thing.
Excuse me if I'm turning the other way, but I'm doing my work.
Yeah, she's doing the comments. Sharon says, how about an energy vacuum?
Yeah, okay, like that. Yeah, but here's the thing. Energy vacuum, vacuum goes into a bag. You don't want the bag to be you.
Right.
Yeah, no.
You don't want the energy bag to be you. That's why you open your channel and you're connected with light. The stuff is not recirculating, right? In other words, okay, I'm going to help you. It's not. I don't want it to be an exchange. Like I don't want to walk out there and be like, "Wow, I hope they feel better,"
Yeah.
So we have to learn it. It's an art. It's an art of how do I align myself with light, open my channel, ground myself, which you said again is super important, open my heart, and make myself into a vessel for light to come in and for the stuff to be taken out.
So Anna says, what about evil spirit attachments?
Tricky subject. It's a tricky subject. I'll tell you why. Because most things that are attached, they're not evil. They're lost.
Yeah, they're looking for a way out.
They're confused, just like humans, right? As above, so below. So most things that attach to people, they attach to you because you have so much light, and they're confused. They think your light is the light. No, the light is the light. So what I do with them almost all the time is I'm like a what do you call it? A conductor on a train. I'm like, excuse me, you're going to go there. You're going to go there. You're going to go there. It happens a lot. So we can in these spiritual circles sometimes we get confused and we think darkness is evil. Darkness is not evil. Darkness is simply the opposite of light. Darkness is potential. Darkness is fecundity. Darkness is the rich earth, right? It needs light for the plants to sprout. There is evil, but most of what gets called is because it freaks me out. No,
that's the minority and not the majority.
I don't get freaked out. No, because I have faith. I know who my boss is. I know what light is. So 99% of it is just energies or entities, even who are confused. There are people that die and they don't know they're dead, and they're walking around and they bump into you and they're like, wait, okay, what? And sometimes what we need to do is escort them strongly, clearly. You don't get it. You're dead. You need to go to a different place. It exists, but they're not evil. They're just lost and lonely.
Exactly. You know that, Anna. You do. She knows it. She does ghost with us and stuff. She's one of our worker bees, and she does readings and stuff too.
But a good question.
But it was a very good question. And there are other things too, like cord cutting ceremonies and whatever. It's whatever your intent is, whatever your strong belief is. That's what's going to work. Yes, Mama. She calls me Mama.
Yes, Mama.
She's calling me Mama.
I had an experience recently with cord cutting, right? Somebody wrote me, and it's interesting. It's a woman who has an adopted daughter. Healing in the energy cream.
You're going to make me fat, Scott.
Various sprinkle. Okay, I like it.
I like it.
Depends on your flavor. Whatever.
That's right.
Soft cone. Dipped in chocolate. Sorry.
So this woman calls me, and she has a daughter who's very, very, very sensitive, and has this thing that she does where entities come to her, and she heals them. And she wrote me and she said, "Look, we've done everything. We've done cord cutting and we've done blah 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 blah, and this thing leaves, but it comes back." And I said, "Wait. This is something that it wants to be a friend. It wants to be a guide, and it needs light. So don't try to kick it out. Make friends with it. Find what it needs, right?"
The way you said that, it just reminded me way back. Somebody, for some reason, didn't like me. I don't understand why. But they sent an entity to what they considered to do me harm. But I never felt harm from it. It gave me a little bit of stress, but no real harm. And I just asked it to step back. And I said, you know what? I'm going to give you a big old hug. And I'm going to ask you to go back to where you came from and give them a hug from me. And because that's who I am. That's how I work. And 2 days later, this person messaged me and apologized. And I was like, it's fine. I accept your apology and I understand why, your reasoning why, but let's not have that happen again. And that was it. And she never spoke to me again, but I never, and I called him Godzilla because everybody was afraid of it because he was supposed to be a big scary monster. But I think Godzilla's a pussycat, so
Okay.
Because you're a person of huge faith. I can say you have huge faith, right? And faith is a protection. Yep. Not faith. And faith doesn't necessarily have to do with religion.
No, it doesn't. It's like when people go, I hope that things happen. I learned, and I can't remember where I am. Stop hoping. Have faith it will happen. So I have faith it will happen. I have faith that my adorable friend Ashley will find the exact space so that she can create all of her amazing cotton candies so I can get fat.
So she can send it to the States, right? And not hog it all up in Canada.
Yeah, we gotta come up to Canada and get some. I'm sorry. This girl makes cotton candy to like Tootsie Roll and ice cream and you name it, she comes up with it. And it's like, oh my God. So I get to taste every single flavor. And I just saw her in the chat room. So I'm like, okay. Shiny moment.
Yeah, and she gets angry with me when I eat in front of her.
Yeah, well, okay. Just okay.
Love you guys.
I'm hungry for cotton candy. There we go.
I know, right? Now Sharon says, now I'm hungry for cotton candy. I don't blame you, you know, but look at the sky in the picture, looks like cotton candy.
It is. Okay. Really? Okay, Ashley, we're going to have customers for you to ship to the U.S., okay?
Let me tell you something about the picture on the book. I had this vision. I had this vision of that. And out of nowhere, I wrote to the woman on there that her outline is an incredible photographer. Her name is Holly Wilmuth. And I wrote to Holly and I said, Holly, do you have this picture? And she said, I'm on my honeymoon in Italy and my husband just took this picture today. And she sent me the picture and I put it in the book.
Oh, I would be exactly that if I was in Italy. That's the top of my bucket list on where I want to go. You know, it's like the places you want to go before you die, because I know I can go there after I die. I can see it all I want, but I want to go there before I die.
Yeah, because after you die, you're not going to be able to eat all the food over there.
Right.
Yeah, but at least they just think about the weight that you won't gain.
That doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all.
Doesn't bother me either. We'll go together. Oh, good pasta. Just something that I'm seeing.
I'm old enough. I've earned it. You know, I gotta get rid of it when I've earned it.
Well, here in Quebec, we're just going to go off for just half a second. Dave says in where he's from, Australia, New Zealand, I'm having a brain fart moment. They call it fairy floss. Well, in Quebec, it's called barbe à papa, which means grandfather's beard. But Ashley created barbe à maman because she is a mom and she will eventually be a grandma. But she had to bring the girl side into it, so it's grandma's beard.
We're still talking about cotton candy here? Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, sorry, he did. It was Dave's fault. I'm sorry.
I just lost the thread for a second.
Dave said they call cotton candy fairy floss.
Fairy floss, okay.
Yes. And Dave is from, I believe, New Zealand. New Zealand or Australia? I know they're two completely separate countries, but I always get the two.
Yeah, don't tell me.
I know one lady who will kick my butt, but I know she's from New Zealand, so I'm good. Hi, Dorothy. All right.
I'm just like, I have a bunch of written down questions, and I'm like, I think we've gone through a lot of these things already just in conversation, but I'm just seeing if there's any points that I want to completely make, because we're getting close to our midpoint break. Now, you talk about living through the heart as a goal, and lots of people talk about the heart, and it sounds nice. What do you really mean, and why is that important? So how can people just start living through their heart? Like, what's the suggestions and what's the path to take?
So let me start this way. I'm glad you asked it. As we can all agree, whatever our point of view is, there's lots of turmoil going on today. There's lots of change going on. There's lots of confusion. There's lots of conflict, right? Blah, blah, blah. We all know. We all see it. We interpret it differently, but we see it. Here's my interpretation, right? And everybody has then their perspective, depending on where they're coming from. But here's mine, because this paradigm of the chakras and the energy systems and the movement of energy, for me, explains a lot. It explains a lot about me, but it also explains a lot about the world. So humanity is coming to the end, however long it takes, of the epic of the third chakra. The third chakra is about manifestation. It's about making. It's about doing. It's about accomplishing. It also is about power. It's about will. All of the things that particularly the country that Gina, you and I live in, the United States, is all about that. Canada is also, but not as much. We are the quintessential expression of the third chakra in the history of the world, except that now China's catching up and probably is going to pass us. What's happening is we are being called as people and as individuals to the heart. The heart is a completely different paradigm. It's the paradigm of unity. It's the paradigm of harmony. It's the paradigm, the heart holds the personal and also the transpersonal. So when I heart, I'm taking into account what's good for me, but I'm taking into account what's good for everybody and for everything, right? We're being called, and we're being called by trauma. We're being called by craziness. We're being called by the virus. We're being called by the conflict, because the third chakra, when it runs wild and when it doesn't have a reference of the heart, it turns into conflict. It turns into perpetual conflict and domination and fights about power. And that's where we are on Earth, right? We've dominated nature, conquered nature, right? To the point where nature is saying, no, right? We've conquered, we've made many people in this country, in my country, are depressed, have lost their way, what am I doing this job for? Right? We see this now, it just happened. All these jobs have opened and people don't want them anymore because they're crappy jobs and they don't want to do them anymore. Because they've had a chance during the pandemic to go like, wait.
Everything.
I'm a crappy job. Why should I do it? It doesn't mean anything. We've lost meaning. The meaning of the third chakra is to do and make and gain and go and go and go. And after a while, even the people who have lots of stuff, they don't care about it anymore. So we're being called to the heart. And so then my technology and many other people, it's not just me by any means, is right. United Kingdom, all the northern, right? France, United Kingdom, United Kingdom in some ways is even more. There's a huge amount of despair, alcoholism, people like,
I have no idea what's going on in the Middle East.
Middle East, right? Same thing. We dominate them. They're all over the world, right? And so we're being called to the heart. So this technology, first of all, to explain it and say, that's what's happening. Relax. It's going to happen. Maybe it's going to take 1,000 years. I do. The maybe it's going to take 100 years, 10 years, whatever. But we're going to get there because it's the natural evolution. It's the resistance to that natural movement that makes people sick. The natural thing. We go through the midlife crisis. What is the midlife crisis? Midlife crisis is you spent your 30s and 40s making, doing, and all of a sudden it doesn't mean anything, and you're being called to the heart. Many people, particularly men, have heart attacks around that time because we refuse to come to the heart and breathe in our heart and cry, because that's what happens when the heart opens, and feel our loneliness and feel our despair, and then breathe and open and enter a new life. So that's what I teach people. The technique of moving from the third, what I call the longest 4 inches in the universe, is between the third chakra and the fourth chakra. Moving literally my loyalty and my orientation to my life from the third chakra to the fourth chakra. So that's what I call, and then it's a new life, living through it. Like, what do I do? How do I do it? I'm going to ask my heart. I'm going to breathe in my heart, because intuition is the voice of the heart. And intuition will tell me what to do, even though my mind has no idea.
Yeah.
Exactly. Always trust that gut. Always. But I just want to say, just for the audio reason only, Tony Starr says, does Jonathan have a daily meditation practice? What type of meditation does he recommend? And Mama D did put up a bunch of links.
I put in each where we stream live. Everybody has a direct link to his guided meditations.
There we go. The central light dot. And I can also that I have my daily meditation that I teach, and also what I do, and it's a combination of my teachers. I've learned a bunch. I've studied Paramahansa Yogananda. Paramahansa Yogananda is an amazing, enlightened. I don't agree with everything he says, but he's got another level of intelligence, there's a man named Dr. Vasant Lad who is had brought Ayurveda to the West. He has his center in New Mexico, and I incorporate what he does. And I sit in light and I breathe in light, and I call light to every one of my chakras. If you want a lesson in this, next Tuesday night, the 21st of September, I'm going to do a class on it. Light.org, and I'm going to teach the meditation that I do.
What time is your show? Your class?
It's 5:00 Pacific time.
Okay.
5 to 6. This is a particular class that I'm teaching. We do meditation, and then we call light. We call light to everybody on the call. There's 60 to 100 people on the call. We call light for everybody.
And you do this on Zoom?
Yeah, we do it on Zoom.
That's awesome. So you can follow all those links, get them on his website, and you can do that class on Tuesday. That would be fantastic, people. Really. Now, I did see in your book, you do a thing. I do the same thing, and a little different reason why I do it and how I use it. We're talking about like energy manipulation, like the chi, how they are using chi for power. Now you do the thing about rubbing the hands, and where you can feel the energy, right? Now what I do is I tell people, like, if I'm teaching Paranormal 101, I just want to see where people's energies are for myself. So I do the same thing. I go like this. I rub your hands, and put them as far apart as you can, but palms facing each other, and slowly bring them in. And where you feel the resistance, that is your energy layer. Like mine's way the hell out there, But if you can, and the thing is to manipulate this energy, pull it in, you can shape it, you can form it. This energy ball is what I use when I ground. And I pull it in, like, so when I kind of scrape all the negative out when I'm grounding, but you can't leave yourself empty. So you need to fill it, right? So I call in, and I like golden light because it's healing for me. So I call in golden light, and then I take that energy ball and I infuse it in and fill the rest all the way down. And as you're doing that, it tingles, you feel the tingling, everything all the way down, But it was just funny that I saw you doing that in the book,
Now look, light is light, energy is energy. The question is, what happens is we discover. You described it earlier, both of you. It's like, how do you know how to do that?
Right.
Who knows? Who is that knows how to do that? There's some inner part of you. You're also from past lives, some intuitive link, and then you have somebody behind you that's whispering, "Put your hands together."
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Always. That's amazing that you said that. That's exactly it. Because we have our spirit guides, and there's several. We have animal guides. I have the fox as my animal guide.
That's what I was going to. Then obviously that is your animal guide, right? The fox thing.
Yeah, and the butterfly. So that's why that was the whole fox and butterfly countdown thing, and so we work really well together because like I'm the guardian of the realm and she's free flowing. They're all both.
I'm the one that lands on your nose and irritates the garbage out of you.
So cute. But
I make you giggle. I make you laugh. That's what I make you think.
yeah, she's so wise. She's so wise. She really is. But
I'm a wise old bird. Hello.
but the energy thing, I mean, it's real. And those guides, I mean, they come in so many different ways, and leave us sometimes, signs like this.
My friends were saying,
to do not ignore me signs.
Nope.
How stubborn you are. Depends on how stubborn you are, right?
Yeah, some people need a 2x4 upside the head of energy.
Yeah. No, they do.
Yeah,
they do. And if you look at if when I look at what happens to people, and not all the time, right? And when I say what I'm about to say, I'm not blaming.
Maybe.
I'm not blaming anybody, but if what I do with people when they come to me is I help them go back in their memory and remember when they made the prayer that had led them to what has happened to them. Like, when did you say, wow, I need a change in my life. This is not working.
Mhm.
And then what happened is you got in a car crash. You lost your job. You couldn't do what you do anymore. Life is weird, right? Not that you didn't pray, oh, make me be in a car crash, but you made a serious prayer that your life needed to change and you didn't know how to do it, and you were seriously stuck and something needed to happen. And inevitably, you go, oh yeah, I remember it was a year and a half ago, and I was sitting on the beach. How does that happen? Right? We manifest. And so one of the things that I teach people is let's make the prayer conscious. We've done it unconsciously,
Mhm.
right? So when I was describing earlier, I felt like I was in a prison and I didn't know what to do. I was in my body. Help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. And so I got sick. I got injured. And then I found a therapist who could help me get into my body. All of it was unconscious. All of it was just from intuition, you know? So we are very powerful. And if we become conscious of it, we become more powerful. We become empowered.
Right. Right. It all, it all makes sense. And everybody, and the way you say this too, and how you discover things is, how you stumble across. How I use my energy is my personal way. It's not, nothing is set in stone that you have to do it this way. But that is what makes everything work as a whole. This one has this skill. This one has that skill. That one has that skill. But all of it is to what? It is to help the community, the people as a whole. Whole. Not your country, my country, their country. All people. And that's what needs to happen in this world.
The prayer, what is the prayer of the healer? I want to help. I want to be of use. I want to help.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody said to me during the, even this was last year, right? And I'm not talking about anybody's political point of view, but they said to me, so if Donald Trump walked into your office, would you help him? I said, of course I would.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a person.
I don't my business. It's not my business to have an opinion about, right? I have my observations.
Yeah.
And my observations, I see what I see,
Yes.
but it's not because I don't. Suffering shows up in various ways. Sometimes it shows up in really obnoxious ways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a polite way to say that.
On that note,
you were a mass hole.
I'm learning to be diplomatic.
There
I'm
you
not in
go.
Boston anymore. I'm on the West Coast. We say things
She's got a t-shirt for you. On that note, it is high time for us to take our commercial break.
Right. So I gotta put this up here. I gotta share this screen, which means we have to mute all our microphones.
We're telling everybody our secrets.
The Foxton is now proudly sponsored by Vortex Ghost Gear, one of the leading fabricators of paranormal equipment. Bob Christopher is the founder and creator of Vortex Ghost Gear. Bob has decades of investigating, starting with his team at NEPA Paranormal and as lead in the popular local PA TV show Ghost Detectives. His experience and knowledge of how spirits could be seen or heard is how he manufactures equipment for specific scenarios of spirit manifestation and communication. Ghost hunting equipment made by a ghost hunter. He is the only manufacturer of the lifelike trigger prop cats, and there is a litter to choose from, and also the trigger prop dogs with a few new additions to the kennel. Using proximity meters wired to lights and sound, these have proven to be highly effective communication devices in the field of study. The HDL, another Vortex exclusive, allowing specific items to be the highlight or trigger of your investigation. For example, place the item on a metal tray or attach directly to any metal object. such as keys or glasses that continue to go missing or moved, ask the spirit to touch the item. The HTO will light. It has an optional sound option as well. This device was used on Travel Channel's Ghost Nation with great results. The Dome, a static detector, can be the most useful device in your gear bag. This is to back up the theory that spirits manifest using static electricity. By using several, you can track a spirit, for example, walking down a hallway, setting off each as it passes. The Geophone detects vibrations. This is another way to track movement if a claim is footsteps in the hallway or stairwell. Set the sensitivity and place the device in that area, and its band of lights will show a range of vibrations, from the slightest tapping, lighting only a few lights, to the loudest thumping, lighting its entire range. The V-Pod holds a special place for those who love the idea of REM pods. Use this sleeker, smaller, easier to transport device, and it has 2 sound modes, REM and musical. The customizable items are the Easy Scan Ghost Box, which is very popular due to the ease of use, and they are custom decorated to the individual or team using them. Bob programs and uses an Arduino-based computer, scanning FM waves to potentially communicate with the spirit realm in real time. Every box is different, every box is unique, and all custom hand decorated by Gina Bankston. The newest item to Vortex Ghost Gear is the Cryptochords motion-activated music box. Place the item with a sensor pointing in the direction you wish to monitor. If something crosses the V pattern emanating from the box's sensor, the music and light will activate. Take your investigating to the next level with many of Vortex Ghost Gear's unique and custom creations by Bob Christopher by visiting www.vortexghostgear.com. View all the products and get your equipment today. You can also investigate with Bob and Gina with ghostly excursions, taking people to some of the most haunted locations in the United States by visiting www.ghostlyexcursions.com. And join us on our next adventure.
Hello? Somebody help us, please?
We heard that you take in wounded soldiers.
We are also Masons. I saw the Mason flag outside.
Take him.
Holy. Something keeps touching it.
Do you think maybe they're trying to bring you your sword?
I feel like once we said we're Masons, that's when it started going off.
Because the Weems family Masons. This is somebody in the Weems family.
Are you Thomas? There goes.
Are you here with us now? This is why you put stuff on and you put yourself in their shoes. This is why you do
why
that.
I do it.
You're absolutely right.
There, I had to do that.
Jesus,
Why
just
don't-
not everything.
I know. Why do we sound funny?
Oh,
Back. We're
We're back.
well,
That video is too long to have like on my side, so I have to do the screen share thing, and I always screw it up.
it's okay.
But that was pretty neat, right? That's all our equipment. We're gonna have all that equipment at our Unity at the event we're gonna be in 2 weeks. We're not gonna have all that equipment with us on Selma at Selma. We can take orders there, but we're gonna bring all the equipment to Power Unity, just so y'all know. Okay. Now I was just looking in your book while we were on this break, and there was just a part that stuck out to me that I don't know what you were watching your son when he was a baby and he was struggling to try to turn over, and then you felt like you really wanted to go help him and turn him over, but you didn't. You sat and you watched. And I'm sitting there going, geez, is this going to be one of them guys who's going to sit there and be like in the background? You want my child do all these things.
And actually, that it's pretty much how I've treated him. He's 39 yet, right? He was about 4 months in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's see what he's going to do,
Right.
And the point of the story is, it's when I learned about the positive use of anger. In the same way as I was saying before, right? We see darkness and we call it evil. We see anger and we call it rage. It's completely different, right? Rage is out of control. Rage is what many people are doing now that is so destructive. Anger is the energy of a plant pushing through the earth. So in Chinese medicine, for instance, which I practice, the wood element, which is springtime, has to do with the plants. So I'm watching my son, and he's about 4 months, 5 months, whatever it was, and I had him in the middle of the floor, right? So I went to the bathroom, and he wasn't crawling yet, so I knew he wasn't going to get in trouble.
Right.
Actually, that didn't last that long because he started walking and he got in trouble. And I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, let me see what he's going to do. And he's struggling, and he turns red, and he's like, we're so frustrated, and boom, he turned over. And it was like, I would play the theme from Rocky, dun, dun, dun.
Here you go.
And he and I thought, wow, if I interrupted his frustration, he wasn't going to accomplish something. He wasn't going to grow, because he grew. He was like his little self was like, whoa, that's a whole new thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like a butterfly. When they change from a chrysalis to a butterfly, you can't help them, because then it won't reach the extension that they need.
That's right.
You could have helped your son. You could have flipped him over. We could do all the stuff that we want to do to help people, but sometimes we need to let them have a redheaded temper tantrum for them to figure out, how to do it right.
Yeah.
He was about 1.5 years, and we were on Cape Cod, right? When I'm walking on the beach with him, and he's walking in Wellfleet, and he's walking, and I'm walking ahead of him, and he's doing his walking, and he goes toward the water, and he comes back, and he goes toward the water, and he comes back. So I judged the distance, that I knew that if he fell in the water, I could get him like that, so I don't know, whatever, 2-3 yards. And I'm watching just to see what he's going to do. And he goes a little further, and he goes a little further, and he goes a little further, and then he falls in the water, and I went and picked him up. And I look up, and there's these 2 old ladies sitting on a porch, looking at me like if they could have had a gun, they would have
killed you. Yeah, right. What are you letting that kid do? Yeah, my dad threw me in the water. That's how
father that ever lived, he was going to drown his kid.
Yep.
Yeah, seriously, I mean, really, we could be like thrown in jail now for doing half of it.
Oh, yes.
And I did to my kids too. Like I was thrown in the water, I threw my kids in the water. It's like sink or swim, kid. Figure it out, right? And my dad, I learned carpentry. I would watch my dad. But it's something this is part of my gifts. I instinctively know I'm like clear cognizance when it comes to that, right? I see it. I see a room blown up. I see a piece of furniture blown up. I can see all the components just by looking at the piece, right? But I would work with all his tools. He would watch me. He'd sit back, he'd watch me. If I was going to cut my finger off, he'd interfere, and say, hey, use the stick, don't risk it. And, but otherwise he'd let me go, figure it out, And if he seen like a board's going to kick back, he'd let the board kick back, because I did that, I was going too fast. I was, whatever. But I learned it without him interfering, So that's kind of how I was with my kids, who are very well independent, independent.
Stubborn, like their mother.
Yeah. But very successful, both of them.
Yes.
I don't have to worry about them, and I don't. Except for one.
and
personal issues. Okay. I have 2, but one of my personal issues a little bit. Tony Starr.
Okay, Tony Starr is very. Thank you very much, Tony, for keeping our YouTube section going. Tony Star says, almost at the end, Jonathan gives a brief overview of his life, which is full with funny stories. My favorite is the one about his going to the clubs and winning a dart game.
Oh, okay.
This is actually a cool story, and it's absolutely true. Every part of it is complete true. I didn't make up anything. The first time I went to England to study acupuncture, right? I went to Oxford, England, and the teacher that I studied with, who was a man named J.R. Worsley, he was an Englishman. He was teaching acupuncture. They had rented a boys' school, like a boarding school, off season. And I went to England. I'd never been to England, and I stayed in a B&B, right, a bed and breakfast, for a couple of days before I got there, to acclimate. So in the B&B with me is a archetypal English guy. He was a little man. He wore tweed suits with a vest, and patches on it, right? And every night he would go out to the pub, and he would come back, as they say, they're snackered. He would come back, and about the third night, he says to me in his English accent, "Do you want to go to the pub?" And I was like, "Sure." I'd never been to an English pub, so we go to this pub. It was 2 or 3 blocks away. Down a typical English pub was down some stairs. It was actually in the basement, and I describe in the different characters. There are 2 people in the corner, an elderly man and woman couple, and they're just drinking their beer and not talking to each other, and somebody else was playing checkers and at the bar is a guy. You saw Jaws, right? Robert Shaw in Jaws, that character, an old guy with a great, and this guy he hates me from the time he sees me, whatever, because I'm a Yank, because I'm young, whatever, and he's getting drunk, and he's saying to me. And when I was a kid, I had a dartboard in my basement. And when I was frustrated, which I was a lot, I would go down and I'd play darts. So I was actually pretty good at it. And so what happens is the guy challenges me to a dart game.
Oh, Lord.
And I thought, okay, well, I'll play some darts with him. And we're playing darts, and literally comes down to the last dart. And to win, I need to get a bullseye.
Oh, boy.
And this guy is like, he's just ramping himself up to just, crush me.
31.
But nobody liked him. Everybody, because he was obnoxious and he was, just a nasty drunk. And so I'm getting ready to, and I didn't know anything about energy at the time. I'm getting ready to throw the dart, and I feel this gathering of energy around me, like a cloud, going like this. And I throw the dart, boom. Bullseye. Well, everybody's and this guy's like, and it was like a victory. It was a victory for goodness, and
right. So everybody's energy was behind you.
Everybody's energy, literally, everybody's prayer in that place was, "Let the Yank win, let the Yank win, let the Yank win."
There you
It
go.
worked, and it was the first time. Look at it; it's great. It was the
Thanks, Tony.
first time that I knew about energy. I was like, wow, what was that? Because I was just going there to study acupuncture. I didn't know anything about anything. I was like, wow, that was the coolest thing. And so I made a prayer, which was, teach me about that. And the crowd goes wild. It was. People were like, wow.
I love that story. I absolutely love it.
I like that story too.
And that is true. And it is. And if you focus too, like I'm a pool player from way back. I was a hustler I've been living a year and a half of my life playing pool. Right. So that's an energy game too. And focus and and looking where you want it to go, and you know what I mean, like it's all emotions. Straight back, follow through. Same thing, straight back, follow through. Doing woodwork, straight back, follow through. Bowling, straight back, follow through. Everything is follow through. Energy work, follow through. Right?
Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Just
it is. Yeah, it's like a natural thing. And once you learn it, You know, it may be awkward at first, you know, but it doesn't. It flows nicely. You know, when you do let it go, you get out of the way and let it be.
Yes.
You know, the great I am has to take a step back.
Yeah, and when I keep coming back to this because it's my thing, is when we have learned consciously, and you two are there, but many people are not conscious of the space of the heart. And so when I learn the art of centering in my heart, that is then guided by my accurate intuition, and I'm not going to make mistakes.
Right.
I may not be completely effective. Not everybody who comes to me gets healed, but I'm not going to mess up.
But again, now this too, do you find this, like someone will come in and say, I have this and this and this and this is wrong. But when you start working them, it's not even that. It's something completely different that needs to be healed.
I want to know, but I learned in my acupuncture career, if someone came in to me and they said, for instance, I remember this guy, he was like a lumberjack or something, comes in and he says, I got a problem with my shoulder. And I look at him and I can see, that's not really your problem. And I said to him, so have you ever considered the fact that maybe there was something going on? He was like, I just want you to heal my shoulder. And acupuncture can do that, but I could never do it. I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
It might never work for me because I was always looking deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah. See, because you
the dart story
that
for me,
there.
the dart story for me was the beginning for you.
That's
but
right.
you just didn't see it.
I didn't know.
Because at that time, it's great when we can stand back and look at it. But at that time, all you were thinking about was like
Win
the
the game.
acupuncture.
Win the game. Shame
Win
the
the game.
guy.
But you weren't thinking about the energies around you, but you could feel them, and you acknowledge them that you could feel them. And this is what a lot of people think, oh, I can't do this. But like you say, if you just sort of let it go from the heart, just let it be. If you have the knowledge, if you have the idea, then that's the seed. You just have to figure out how to water it, give it the light, give it what it needs to grow, and it will grow. But don't just I want to be a jewelry maker. It's like if you doubt yourself too much in everything that we do. But I think that I love that story because that proved that even back then you knew it was going to happen, even if you didn't admit to it.
Yeah.
Now, did you go even before that? Like, did you? Because you said you helped people to back up to that spot, to find like that point where you found, the dart story. But did you find anything else previous, like when you were younger, anything going in that direction for you?
Okay, when I was a teenager, if I would get bored, I would stare at my hands.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know.
Look at my hand does.
First of all, because hands are super cool. Like I do this sometimes, and I think, how did I do that? I go like that. I go like that. How did I do that? I don't know how I did that. And I would look at my hands, and later on, that's what I do. So I had hints.
Yeah.
But no. And for me, learning acupuncture was hard. It was hard. I had to work I was by myself in a 7-by-8 foot room and for years. And I had to really, really, really make myself become competent at that before I could then reclaim that thing that had happened with the darts, allow the energy to come. But for me, it took me 12 years of working. I saw 60 clients a week. I worked hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and I became a good acupuncturist.
Yeah.
Right. And I started, as you said at the beginning, I was one of the first people in the United States outside of the Asian communities, right? There were people in Chinatowns and Japantowns.
Oh, yeah.
But in terms of the general population, I was one of the first people. I started practicing acupuncture.
And again, it's all those things that get poo-pooed upon by the medical community. Acupuncture, Acupressure,
Nobody knew.
all the kind of stuff at the beginning when it first came out. It's like you're taking away from our medical, things and pharmaceuticals. Heaven forbid. But now it's so not that. I mean, people are looking at all kinds of healing things.
It was interesting back then. It was exciting.
Yeah, but now you have to learn so many points. Like sciatic. Where would you be putting needles for someone with sciatic pain?
Well, nowadays, here's what I would do. Interesting. The first thing I would look at is their first chakra. Like, what is going on with their grounding? The first chakra has two sides. It has a right side and a left side. Many people can be grounded on one side and not on the other. The right side, in general, the right leg, the right side, has to do with stepping into the world. So stepping into what you're going to do, stepping into your job, stepping into to presenting yourself in the world. I took care of someone the other day, had a problem with their right knee, and it was exactly what's going on. The left side in general is stepping into your inner world, into your own self, into your emotions, into your own self. And many people are resistant to that, so they get a problem with their left leg. And so that's the first thing I look at. The second thing is, where's the sciatic? Sciatic comes out of the second chakra. I want to know what's going on in their second chakra. I want to know many people hold energy back. They look energetically, they look like they have a bustle behind their butt, right? And because they're holding so much energy back from their second chakra, that the energy, that area of the body is coagulated, it's congested, so the energy can't move through. So then they do something and they go, and it gets
out. Yeah.
So that's where I'm going to look now. Acupuncture, yeah, there are things you can do. The meridians that go down there, there's 6 meridians that go down the legs. And so you can also work with that. But these days, I'm going to step back and go like, what's going on these deeper levels? Let's get that, and then stick a needle in, and the thing will open up. Or go to the chiropractor, and it's loosened up enough energetically, and it'll transform.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Again, we got Tony Starr. A friend of Jonathan went to China, and Jonathan went to see him when he came back. When he, I don't know, someone he was putting a needle in his eyes or head. I don't.
No. Oh, no, it wasn't that. No, it wasn't quite. You got it, sort of. when I first went to this, how I discovered acupuncture. It's similar, interesting, different than the dark thing. I went to the University of Michigan, 1968, 1972, which was the time of the anti-war movement. I was super involved in that. I was very much in the left side of the anti-war movement, a radical, and blah blah blah. A friend of mine lived in Ann Arbor. His father was a professor, and this young man went to China on one of the first trips of Americans to China. China wasn't open yet, right?
Yeah.
Nixon went open. This was a couple years before that. It was a secret trip. He comes back, and I wanted to get the skinny. I thought, wow, China, because in those days we lived in this fantasy about like the Chinese were just like the greatest because they weren't us,
Yeah.
Right? And so I wanted to get what it was like before he got dispersed. So it was a spring day. I'm walking up the porch of his father's house, and the front door is open, and I look in, and the young man is sticking a needle in his father's elbow. I'd never heard of it. I didn't know what that was. Literally, he's sticking this big needle in his father's elbow with the main point. And this voice inside of me says, "You're going to do that."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "What? I don't even know what that is. What is that?" Like that. It took me years to find a thing on that line. Here we are today.
Everything for a reason.
Dude,
You're in that spot.
the person's reading the book. I appreciate that. It was everyone putting all that stuff in. That's great.
I know, it's fantastic. Hi, Rhonda. Hi. How are you? Okay. So Ashley is writing kind of a message to you, Mama. The exchange of energy that was discussed with Mama D, things that light is healing in the community is happening. And I do like, because we put this up a couple of times, we did not mention it. Jess says energy is everything, the true currency of Earth. I like that
It's
as,
true.
yeah, I just really wanted to make sure I mentioned that because it's a good thought. It's a good thing. Yeah.
And that's the thing is some people don't realize it, you know, as much as, and I'm gonna put my shiny light on things. As much as people see, oh my God, COVID, you know, I can't do this, I can't do that. But we as a people can't do stuff. But Mother Earth, she is like blossoming in so many ways that we stopped her from doing things. I mean, first thing I remember hearing after all this stuff started was like there was dolphins in the Venice canals. You know, they're in certain Asian countries, they actually could see the sun because
The smog.
the smog and the pollution that because of their everybody going is clearing up. Because I mean, you kind of sort of have to sit there and go, hey, this is, you know, as bad as what's going on, whether it's COVID, whether it's politics, whether it's whatever's going on in your life, as bad as it's going on, here's my shiny moment. There's a silver lining to everything. And I know I get on a lot of people's nerves with that, but you know me.
No, not at all.
Nope.
Look, I'm going to ask a rhetorical question to all of us here and then all the people listening. How many people, for how long, have been praying that something needs to change on Earth?
Oh my God.
There's 7 billion people on Earth. There's a few people. There's a few people at the top. They're good. They're like, yeah,
Just
you know,
put it this way, it's the majority.
Keep it pouring in, right? How many people? Billions of people are like, wait a minute. This is not right. Something needs to change. Something needs to change. And people in different ways. Some people consciously praying, saying it's a prayer, but many people are like, whoa, wait a minute. No, help.
Yeah.
Nature is weird. You know, we would love it to be that, you know, the shining chariot came from the sky and said, all is peace now. Right?
It's a unicorn fur.
No, nature's like, okay, you need some change. We're going to stop everything. Let's stop. Yo.
Back up. Yeah.
Time out. Woo-hoo. Time out. Let's have a break. And so we have a chance to reconsider exactly what you're saying, Mama D. Right? We have a chance to reconsider and say, wait. I know that's what I've done. Right?
Yep.
I traveled for 20 years, basically 6 months a year. I haven't traveled in almost 2 years now. It gave me the opportunity and the challenge. I had lots of stuff in my own self that it needed healing that I wasn't consciously sublimating, but I was like, no, I got to go to the next hotel and I got to go to the next workshop. I'm like, no workshops, no hotels. I have to sit in my own self and decide, what am I going to do? Right? So I totally agree with you. Right? Like you're going to you're going to sit and cry because you're surrounded by lemons, or you're going to make some lemonade.
Right.
Hell yes. I won't drink it, but I'll give it away.
But now it's clear why. Yes. Yeah, I love you, girl.
Like Tony, how many, like this one from Tony, it says, how many people are praying that everything stays the same? No, I would like to travel. So let's just make some few changes if that's okay.
No, there are people saying that things they change because it works for them, or they're so scared that the thought of things transforming, which is a process, a dynamic process where lots of stuff comes up and lots of stuff gets thrown into question.
Yep.
There's a huge fear. And a lot of what's going on, if I may say, again, my point of view, a lot of the craziness, a lot of the conflict, and a lot of the overbearing, so many ideas and so many conspiracies and so many is coming from a pathological discomfort with not knowing.
Yeah, fear of the unknown. That's right.
A huge fear of the unknown. And oh my God, okay, the lizards are in charge.
Right. Yeah.
No, the truth is nobody knows what's going to happen. That's the truth. No, nobody knows. And so if we can sit, if I go inside myself, I access my heart, I breathe, I'm okay with not knowing.
Yeah.
Because apropos of what you said, Mama D, I have faith. I know that I don't know what's going on, but somehow it's all going to work out if I just stay the course.
Yeah. And it's like a lot of people are going, oh my God, I don't want it to be back. I want it to go back the way it was. It's never going to go back to the way it was. It's like in 2012 when they thought the world was going to come to an end. It did, but it came to an end as the way we knew it. It was a new thing. This is not going to go back. Our lives are never going to go back to the way it was because we have changed as a people. Some a little bit crazier, and some not so crazy, But okay, maybe that one down there.
It's a range, right? It's a range.
Yeah, hello.
Where am I on the?
It's like, where are you on that scale? But the thing is, you have to be willing to accept the change, good, bad, or otherwise. Change is going to happen whether we like it or not.
But fear does rule the people.
Yeah.
And the sheeple, right? Because there's a difference, right? People have a brain, the sheeple don't. You know what I mean? They follow blindly, and oh yeah, okay, I'm going over here. Oh yeah, okay, I'm going over here. Right?
In a wide range, it's not just one, right? For me, look, one of the greatest gifts of the body is discernment. Discernment, like to be able to feel nuance. So energetically, what I teach people is, for instance, today I was doing a yin and yang, but even there's yin and yang, and there's yin-ish and there's yang-ish.
Yeah,
I like this ish. I like the ish.
Yeah,
right. There's nuance. So I was working with somebody the other day, and we were talking about forgiveness, and I said, we were talking about karma. And I said, karma, the healing of karma is forgiveness, always. And the end result of a healing process, a true healing process, is the embodiment of the literal vibration of forgiveness. Forgiveness, like compassion, is a universal force. It comes to a pre-prepared slot in the heart chakra. There is a place in your body already that's going like forgiveness. And when you're ready to receive the forgiveness, the force, it comes and it blossoms in your heart. What I teach people is learn how to recognize it, because when it comes, shut up. And just breathe into it, because it's coming to heal. It's coming to make everything new. It's coming to make everything now. So it doesn't matter what your opinion is and what your conversation is. When forgiveness comes, shut up and breathe. But you got to be able to recognize it.
That's
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of people are looking for the big ta, when it's going to be something as small. It's a little butterfly going across your path. I was kind of stressing out today, something totally out of my control. And I was outside, and this tiny little white butterfly just flittered past and I was like, okay, thank you. I got it. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask a question. What is your thought on ego?
I got one. You got one. All God's children got one.
Okay.
First of all, it's a tool. Ego is a tool. The problem is ego we turn it into a boss. Ego is not the boss. Ego is a useful, necessary, in some cases, tool to get things done, to express myself, to I'm writing a book. So there's an ego level in it of like, I believe that I have something worth saying and I'm going to say it, but it needs to not be in charge.
Yeah.
What needs to be in charge is the vibration of the heart. So I'm not a spiritual person that says, pretend.
Have an ego, don't be led by it.
I've never met anybody who didn't have an ego. I've met some very beautiful, spiritual, elevated people. But I've never met anybody that didn't have an ego. I didn't meet anybody who's ever didn't have a lower self. Things to work out and pains and I never met anybody that. And what happens in some spiritual communities is we pretend that we don't have that because it's a bad thing, and then it acts out anyway. And it creates trouble.
You can't get to here without an ego. And you really can't, because otherwise, what would be the point? You know what I mean? You want to better yourself, whether you want to better yourself for yourself, or you want to better yourself for your community, your family, your loved one, your spouse, your whatever you want to better yourself for. It's like when you get there, you can't tell me you're not going to feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
Ego boost, right? And then what do you want? What's the next step? What more can I do?
Yep.
Yeah. There's real humility and there's false humility.
Yes.
What you're talking about is false humility. Oh, no. It doesn't mean anything to me. I'm so okay.
Yeah, that's bull, right?
Yeah.
I'm just like,
here's another thing. I do the best I can to not make policy from my ego. To not make the policy of my life. So for instance, my wife and I are the leaders of a spiritual community here, a small spiritual community that actually is centered on our land. I live in the forest. I live on 20 acres of land. We have a yurt complex where we
want to talk about that.
And yes, and people can go there hopefully next year, right?
And we have to make a bunch of decisions about things.
Yeah.
And what are we going to do, and how are we going to, what policies we're going to have. We do the best we can to not do it from our opinions or what we want. Like, what is the best for everybody, even if I don't like it. And I've made many decisions, things that I don't like personally.
Yeah.
Somebody pisses me off, but so what? That doesn't mean I'm going to kick them out because they piss me off. If they violate the principles that we hold together, it's a whole other thing. Yeah. But the fact that I don't like them or they don't like me, so what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to like everybody. If you did, again, viva la difference, right?
Exactly.
That's what.
Actually, I've often thought, if when I die, for real, everybody only has nice things to say about me, I didn't actually live a very successful life.
I think you did.
I think you know what? I think when I die, there'll be at least one person who will be like, yes.
Okay, you know what I'm saying, right? People
I
like,
got a few.
But the reason I asked you what was your thoughts on ego was because some people need to hear it, and hearing it from me and hearing it from Gina, we can say it till we're blue in the face, and sometimes it's just a different person, a different energy, and it's like I needed that to be heard. For some reason, that needed to be heard today. So thank you very much.
I'm like high energy, and you're like that sweet energy, and he's just
but you know what? As sweet as I am, there are people out there who do not like me, and I get on their nerves.
He's got that scholarly energy going. You know what I mean?
He does, doesn't he?
It just flows. It just flows. And you just get mesmerized. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I have to ask you a question now.
It's like, hey, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I'm just listening to you. So since you just asked such a nice question, Mama, why don't you ask another question?
Who did? What? I didn't do anything.
Ask a question.
Okay, I did. I asked Ego. But
know.
You mean from his list?
Yeah, from there.
Okay.
Well, you want to know about our little
yes, the yurts.
Our deal here, right?
Yep.
So I went to Brazil. In December 1987. I told a little bit of the story. It was a big deal for me. I was there for a month, completely transformed everything, transformed my health, transformed I realized that these concepts that I had, most of them were completely wrong, but some of them were actually real. There is a spiritual world. There are these entities we've been talking about. Energy is real. Vibration is real. the heart is real, blah, blah, blah. All these things that showed me. I was a person, I didn't believe that I needed a path. Path was for people who needed a path. I didn't really believe in spirit, and I certainly didn't think that I would become part of a spiritual path that's centered in the middle of the Amazon rainforest in a village that at that time took 2 days by canoe to get to. I would never have imagined.
Nope. Sorry, bugs.
Go ahead.
No, she's saying she wouldn't go there because of the bugs.
Nope.
Yeah, but the thing is, if it's worth it, you'll do it.
Nope.
That's right. You'll do it for me. Let's go.
Nope.
So the next year, what happened was the man who had taken me to Brazil the first time, who was my psychotherapist, man named Jose Rosa, discovered that he had pancreatic cancer, and he was very close to death. He went to Brazil, was cured of his cancer completely. And this was December of 1988. In June of 1989, he calls me and he says, so I'm going to the jungle, and I'm going to present myself to the man who is the leader of this spiritual path, which is called the Santo Daime. I'm going to present myself to him because the deal I made for my healing was that I would go and present myself so that I could be part of this this path. He said, are you coming with me? I said, heck no. No friggin' way. I'm not going to the jungle. Why would I go into the jungle like that? And I'm getting ready to move to Oregon, and I don't have the money, blah, 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 blah. So he actually pulled a Tai Chi move on me, because usually he was really pushy. He went like this. He went like, okay, no problem.
Oh.
6 weeks later, I'm on a canoe with him going into the jungle.
He knew how to do you.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I meet a community, a village. At that point, was probably 300-400 people. All of them, not one of them spoke English. I didn't speak any Portuguese at the time. Now I do. And I'm a 6'3" white American middle class male. These were 5'2" tall, brown people, native people from that region.
Right.
Our cultures were completely different, and I
welcomed you with open arms.
I fell in love.
Yep.
And I realized in the middle of the jungle, wait, I'm part of this thing. I'm on this path. I don't even know what that means. And I'm 6,000 miles away from my house. What am I going to do? And blah, blah, blah. It turned out that I was called to that. And so I became an initiate. And later on, we moved to Oregon, and my wife and I opened a small branch of that spiritual community that is centered in the Amazon forest. And we have a small branch of it here that is centered on our land. And it's a whole story, and many, it's a long story, too long. And we hold ceremonies here in the forest, in our yurts, and also in the forest. We have, so for instance, during the COVID time, we've been doing them outdoors. We do them outdoors in the breeze, in the forest, under the trees. And that's one of the things that we do. And it's very beautiful, and it's very humble. We don't make a big deal out of it. The tea we use that comes from the Amazon is called ayahuasca. We call it daime. And in 2008, we sued the U.S. government for the right to drink it because it has a tiny component of what the government calls a drug, DMT. Yeah. We sued them and we won. They say, right?
Well, medicine men use that stuff all the time.
And so that's what we do. And so what we do is legal. We won the right to do this without the government coming in.
Nice.
So you're the right person for the right job. The universe picked you for this.
That's right.
To make all this happen.
And yeah, and there are times when I tell you, I'm like, universe, can we have a conversation?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
daily conversation. Can we just have a meeting? Did you get the memo?
Right? Hello.
Email go into the spam this time? Yeah, no.
And
I think this is perfect. How many times did you go back to Brazil?
Oh, I've probably been to Brazil 40 times.
wow,
Nice.
wow.
Yeah, I haven't been in a year and a half, but always,
Yeah, yeah.
every year, I'm going at least twice.
Wow. That's
I
awesome.
see that tea is something I've heard so much about, and not because I go in search of the information, but because it seems to keep coming back to me. Something I want to try. And
It's
so,
look, technically, it has chemical components, like you have chemical components. I have
yes,
chemical components, but the chemical components don't describe it any more than describing your chemical components describe you.
yeah,
It's so little. What he was talking about that had to pass. It's such a little content in there, but it's in there. So it
When
just
he says, I want in, LOL, I have 20 acres and I do pranic healing, I would have to pass on the T, though. Isn't that?
she's a germaphobe. So, so she's like, no, you know, and she does pranic like I do, but it's not a hands on. So it's different. But yeah, Jess, you could do stuff on your property, no doubt. If that's what you want, that's what you're drawn to. That's what you need. Like
That's
someone
what
else
Angel Rose
earlier
is.
was saying, how do I know who a spirit guide is, or how do I know what my spirit animal is? The easiest way to do it is, what animal have you loved your entire life? What animal that, like, when you see a picture of that, you just like, oh, melt. Could it be the cat with the big eyes, or could it be the little puppy with the sad eyes, or the jaguar with the power and the stealth, and the horse with the might. Me, it's always been a fox and a rabbit. The bunnies were prevalent in the first part of my life, and then the fox kind of was in the background. Now the fox is more prevalent, and it can change. But it's just, that's like a basic thing. Or who has passed that stays in your brain all the time. Those could be your spirit guides working with you, family members, loved ones. Who knows? What's your favorite archangel? Do you think of them often? It comes to you in such subtle ways and unsubtle ways. When you're sleeping, when you're dreaming, all these things, all these messages come to you. It's just that you've got to take the time to pick up on them. You've got to love yourself enough to listen to yourself.
Oh, that's great. That is a great line, by the way. I'm going to steal that. Can I steal that line?
Absolutely, you can have it. All yours.
Love yourself enough to listen to yourself. That is a great line. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Thanks. But
It's okay. It's going to be in his next book.
and
And it's going to have your name.
Right,
And
right.
it'll be in quotation marks, a little asterisk at the end. It'll
the
be,
fox
thanks to Gina.
the fox cheetah, right? So if that's what you think of, hey, then that could be it. But there are he does guided meditations. There are, guided meditations for everything. Google everything, right? But
Never be afraid to ask.
classes, do his class, because he's really in tune. I mean, the HEV, human energetic vehicle, now you coined that, right?
Yeah.
That is yours, exclusive. So,
Yeah.
And he describes what that is in here, how this all comes together, all this conversation that we're having, how it all comes together, and where it's located in the body. You can pinpoint it. It is just beyond me. And I was asking him when we were doing our test, I'm like, what about like the people, all right, say mental health issues? Like, what about people that were in jail that like commit these horrendous crimes? Like we always say, they gotta be void of something. There's something emotional blockage that allows them to actually kill somebody, or torture and kill somebody. There's gotta be something, because we're all instinctively born with compassion or empathy or right from wrong, and they don't have that right from wrong. Like, what is missing? And with this type of God, can I even say it like a technology? Because it is. It's technological.
It's a spiritual technology.
Yeah.
So you could pinpoint these things and maybe work with these people and correct it.
Yeah.
Look,
well, and let me say one thing apropos of that. Yes, there are ways to understand mental illness that this also speaks to, and there's another level, which is what we've been alluding to. It's what I call mediumship, right? Mediumship. It's just a term that describes being sensitive to energies and in touch with energies. So people who are very damaged for whatever reason, in other words, very cut off from their heart, from their feelings, these things, somehow something has been so interrupted in their humanity, a lot of times by trauma, but also by karma. And they are naturally sensitive people. They become like antennae, picking up radio signals. And what's happening today is that so many of those radio signals, those thoughts, are thoughts of hatred, are thoughts of racism, are thoughts of condemnation and conflict. And so a person who is a combination of damaged, like you're describing, and also then they're cut off here, and their head is like an antennae, and they start hearing voices. Some of the voices come from them, but some of the voices are coming from the general field, right? I have hateful thoughts. I'm not going to go shoot somebody because I'm in touch with my humanity. But I have those thoughts, and I know that when I send out a thought, like I hate that person, it's a thought form, and it goes around and it looks for a place to land. And one of the places that it can land is on that disturbed person who their stories are, I started hearing voices.
So they're like an empath on overload.
They're an empath, a disturbed empath. And then boom, they act out. And we're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, where did they get that? One of the thoughts, at least one of the thoughts they got was from me.
Right. You do talk about that too in this book a lot, thought forms, because that's a big major part of, what you're doing here. So if we, we try to do these experiments, like, right, I'm a paranormal person, right? So there was this thing that they do in the paranormal community now that's called National Ghost Hunting Day. And Chris, who just came in, was my old co-host here. Well, I was his co-host.
Delicious.
He's a psychic medium from Staten Island. He's really good. But he was at the first ghost hunt with me, National Ghost Hunting Day. Now, the theory behind it was to have all these teams all around the world asking the same questions at the same time to see if you could pierce that veil at the same time and see if if does that help, because it's so much of that energy all at once going out there,
Cool.
So it was really, a neat idea in theory, but of course then the ego's got to get in the way, and the this and the that, and the people got to stomp all over it. Now I have no part of it, but the theory of it I like, and I can stand behind it too, because I think that if everyone did that correctly, we might have gotten
make a difference
around the same answers and another step forward in that. The learning process. How does our realm work with the next realm? And make it better.
Yeah, why not? Right? We can link. Yeah. When I do online classes, the first thing we do every class is everybody centers in their heart, and we link all of our hearts. Right? So if there's 60 people, 100 people, whatever it is, every heart links. And then when we receive light, everybody's receiving the same light. Why couldn't you extend it to what you're saying? Okay, so let's all concentrate on the same thing at once. And let's see what we can do. Why not?
We each had 3 questions, or it was 3 or 5 questions, something like that. You ask the question, you wait 10 minutes, you ask a question, you wait, like a certain amount of time. But everyone was supposed to ask those specific questions. And we've got some pretty crazy stuff as evidence in talking about Akashic records, and also with Chris, because he's a psychic medium, we had that too. So I had my recorders. We had a like a DC recorder that was like a real-time thing that will only pick up a spirit voice, it won't pick up your voice, it just picks up the answer. And then we had a regular recorder going too. And it's like Chris is picking up on stuff. It's coming over on the EVP end of it too. He's backing him off what I was saying and taking it further, which is really neat,
That's really cool.
Yeah. So it's all real, the energy and the multi levels. The multi levels. That's why I can stand behind what you're doing here, because of the multi levels of the body and the energy coming from within to out of the body.
Mhm.
When we die, where's it go? It doesn't disappear.
Well, one thing that happens when we die is that the first three chakras, the first, second, third chakra, disperse. Their job is only to help us in this life.
Yeah, ground here.
Therefore, ground us here, procreate, nutritize ourselves, and live a life on earth. They dissolve. The other chakras are the things we're learning, the spiritual lessons we're learning. And so the energy of that is taken by the higher self, and that's what continues on.
Right. And now you've mentioned karma before, so people have such bad misconceptions of karma, thinking that it's always bad karma, and karma's going to get you, and karma's this and karma's that. That's not karma. You know what I mean? It's not.
Karma is the big lesson that you came to learn. What is it that keeps coming back, keeps coming back? When somebody today, he's telling me about all these relationships and they all end up the same way. I said, dude.
Yeah. Not seeing the lesson in that.
I said, what are you trying to learn? He said, I'm trying to learn about abandonment. I said, well, then learn that and you don't have to keep doing this stuff again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my God. All right.
It's 58, darlings. 2 hours have flown by.
Oh my God. I could talk to you like.
You two are, as my son would say, you are the bomb. The two of you.
Joe.
Go on. No.
Stop.
So you recommend the box then? I'm gonna try to find my little exit video here. But listen, everybody, seriously, the book is not. It's not a quick read. It's 500.
It's not light reading, but it's light reading.
It's worth the read. It's something that you need to live, digest, and take your time reading. So that's why I did not quickly rush through it to read it for the show, because this is one I'm going to take my time. Even what I have read, I've got a million things are dog-eared in there already, So, sorry, book. But it's a great book. So check him out. Check all his sites out. Check his classes out. I would love to have you come back.
Anytime. I'd love to come back. You for real. Besides that you're delightful. The questions were very deep, and I learned from you also. It's not just about me rapping it. I'm learning. So I learned a number of things from you all that I'm very grateful for.
Oh, ditto. And I just feel like I have so much more to learn from you, and Mama too, I'm sure.
Don't be surprised if she sends you messages because she's reading things. Like, what?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I love it. Send it. I write back. People write me all the time. Hey, what about this? I'm like, well, here's what I think. What do you think?
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Good. All right. Well, listen. Thank you. Hang with us for a couple of minutes. And all of you guys, I will not be here next week. No show next week because we're going to Para-Unity. So we have a lot to prepare for. So we'll be back 2 weeks. So apologies for that. This is we're getting back on trail too. But this is it. Last time we're taking a break out except the holidays. All right. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
That'll be good.
Ciao for now.
See you later.
Thank you again for joining us for another episode in the Fox Den. We're here every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you a variety of guests. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and our Anchor venues. We would love it if you would go to our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, and please subscribe, share, and definitely hit the notification button to never miss a show. We'll see you all next week, and subscribers, watch for our pop-up shows as well.